Welcome to the Rewrite the Script of Your Life broadcast with me, your host, Latanya Carmouche. I am a certified personal development life coach. In this broadcast, you will learn strategies and techniques of how to control your mindset so that you can experience a totally different level of success in any area of your life. You will handle and manage situations that have you feeling lost, stuck, overwhelmed, or even defeated, and retrain your thoughts so that you can see the best outcome in any situation. Everything we do and how we do it is based on Romans 12:2 and Proverbs 23:7. A script for your life was written before you were formed in your mother's womb. You were chosen and created with an intended purpose. The challenge is before that script is ran, it gets overshadowed by well-intentional loved ones, family members, peers, environment, culture, you name it, right? So much stuff just overshadows the original script. Your role now as the writer, the producer, the director of your life is to rewrite the script of your life and put it in alignment with its original intent, with the original purpose. To do that, there's steps that you must follow, right? To do them, and we're going to go over that. My role as a personal development coach is to help build confidence in you in any area, and then help you make smart, powerful decisions using the tools that's already instilled within you. There are 5 key principles to the rewriting the script of your life. They are trace it, face it, erase it, replace it, and embrace it. So in order to do that, we're going to look within. If you do not look within, you're going to go without. Right? You'll go without experiencing the abundance of peace, of love, of power, of freedom, of self-confidence, of control, self-control that you have that's already provided for you, and it exists inside of you. So we're going to go within and begin with the steps. With trace it, everything did not begin with you, right? And before you can rewrite the script of your life, we have to trace back and learn where are the scripts that we have running in our subconscious mind. Where are they running from? Where do we get these thoughts from, these beliefs, these ideas from? So for example, I am what they call a worker bee, workaholic, or however you want to call it, right? I do not do well with idle time. I do not do well with knowing I don't have a project going or I'm working towards a goal. And so you'll find me, I'm either writing, I'm studying, I am learning, I'm researching, I'm doing something to keep progressing in life. Now, why am I this way? I look back and I trace it to my father. My father has worked his entire life, right? He will tell you that he started working when he was 5, whether that's true or not, we'll go with it. But I've known him to work my entire life. He'll work 2 or 3 different jobs at a time, right? And he will take vacation, but his vacation is taking off from one job to go paint a house, to go build an engine for a car, to go do more work. His vacation is work from work. That doesn't sit well with me, right? Although I inherited his work ethics, I work hard so that I can play hard. So I work hard, and then when I say I'm on vacation, I'm on a plane, I'm on a train, I'm on a boat, I'm somewhere to leave, right? Or, I may stay home, but if I'm home, I'm doing something productive for me, meaning it's relaxing and it's productive. So I'm reading a book, I'm traveling, I'm meeting people, I'm seeing different people, and I'm just busy, right? So I inherited the need to stay busy from my father. That's a good inheritance. I'm going to keep that. I just have to tweak it and alter it, right? Now, take another example. I once worked with a female or a lady, who was beautiful, right? She was happily married, had a nice husband. She had beautiful children. She had a nice home, nice car, good job. But for some reason, whenever someone gave another female a compliment of being pretty or how they look or mentioned someone who's pretty, her whole demeanor would change and she would become so angry and just everything would change. She's in a bad mood now. So in working with her, we traced it back to her mother. Her mother had a low self-esteem. Her mother had bad experiences in life, and she was carrying her mother's pain. And it took form of lack of self-confidence and feeling as though she was not good enough. And so it triggered her when there was compliments made to other people, other women. It just changed her. She became very defensive, and she did not like that about herself. She didn't understand why she was like that. But after we worked it out, we discovered it was her mother's issues that she was carrying into her own life that didn't even apply to her. So that is something that we're going to trace and then give back to where it belongs. That does not belong to her, right? And then another example is I knew a young man, who belief was nothing good comes from the hood. He was told constantly in his life that you're going to be just like your father, you're going to be just like your uncles, and they all amounted to what society will call nothing, right? Meaning that they didn't work, they just stayed around and hung out on the street corners and survived however they survived. And that was his mentality that was embedded in his brain and his belief for himself that this is all I'm ever going to be, just a hood brother who just get by in life. Like there's no real goal. There's no excitement to your life, nothing positive going on. And after working with him and discovering that does not have to be the end of your story. You do not have to be, what your family was, right? That was spoken over your life, that you're just like them and this is all that we can do and this is all we'll ever do. And it just simply was not true. So he had to broaden his mind, right? Trace it back to where that stemmed from, whether it was his grandfather, and it was just a long tradition of we just hang out on street corners, and change his mindset, right? And I'm glad to say he's living a very productive life now. He's doing really good. And now that he was able to trace it and see that he had that belief because that's what was spoken over his life for all these years, and then see that he has the power within himself to say, well, that's not true for me, and erase it and change it. And now he has a much better outcome, right? And so that's one of my stories that I'm proud of. So that one, you have the power to change. So we can either embrace what we've inherited and tweak it and change it so that it works for yourself, like I did with my work ethics that I received from my father, or you can realize that you're carrying something and acting out and sabotaging yourself based on someone else's beliefs and their emotions and what they're experiencing. Or you can trace it back and see that this was something that was spoken over you, and it's an expectation that does not necessarily fit for you, and you have the power to change it and create the outcome that you wish to have, right? The outcome that is in alignment with your intended purpose, right? So, and trace it. We go back as far as your mother's womb. The mother's womb is the first environment that you lived in, right? First environment that an embryo lives in. Her emotions, her experiences are passed to the embryo. And as they are absorbed by the embryo, it starts to create a disposition in your subconscious mind on how to act in life. And so, right, another example is, have you ever heard anyone describe a baby as, oh, the baby's nervous? Right, older people, my grandmother, they would say, oh, that's a nervous baby. And you stop and think, why is this baby nervous? The baby was barely born. The baby doesn't comprehend or hasn't lived long enough to understand reasons to have anxiety, reasons to be nervous. Yet at every sound, every noise, if somebody walk in, the baby's just shaking and nervous, right? That the baby is carrying emotions that does not apply to them. Those emotions came from the mother, right? Or you can have a baby who's always happy. So perhaps the mother, passed happy experiences to the child, and the baby's just always smiling and looking and going to everybody. That's, some different end of the spectrum, but it's possible, right? So we're going to trace it back. And we're going to trace it all the way back to as far as you can go. If you visit your mother, what was her life like at the time that she was carrying you? What was her experiences like? And then you're going to trace yourself and see what are the things that you are doing, the actions that you are making or taking every day that you do not like, that you do like, that you can improve, and the ones that you need to just stop altogether, right? And then we also inherit beliefs. So after you're out of the mother's womb, you're into the world. Now we start absorbing the beliefs and the ideas and the expectations of different people, right? So know that you're uniquely created, first of all. There's no one in the world who can ever be exactly you. You can never be exactly anyone else. You can only be you. So even if family has told you, this is tradition, this is how we're going to do things, this is how things have always been done, it may not necessarily apply to you, right? So you could say a family comes from, postal workers or law enforcement, right? Both are great employments, but today is different than 20, 30, 40 years ago. What worked for them then may not work for you now, today, right? So, they spent their entire life working every day. They got a pension, they got a watch, they took care of their family, everything was great. And then they expect your grandfather was the chief of police, and then your father was, the captain, and now you have to be in law enforcement. And that may not be what your script is. Your script may be for something to be something totally different, right? A cook, a chef. You may be the Willy Wonka of things, right? If you will. What I mean by that is it may be instilled in you to create something that, create a piece of gum, right? Since I said Willy Wonka, that has all the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, everything you need to survive. And you chew it, and then everyone's healthy on one piece of gum a day. I don't know. But whatever it is, right? You may be called to be a construction worker. You may be called to be a lawyer, something different. But if it was your family tradition that everybody was a certain thing, and so you have to be a certain thing, if it leaves you feeling unfulfilled, if it leaves you not feeling like you're reaching your life's purpose, then you have to be strong enough to trace it back and say, that's an expectation that was placed on me that does not serve me well. And you can't do it. Like, you can't fulfill it, because if you fulfill their expectation, you're going to miss your expectation or your reason for being here, your purpose in life. You're going to miss it following others' expectations, right? So when you trace your thoughts, you trace where you're at, what you're doing, why you do what you do, if it boils down to you're doing it because of an outside force, their belief, their expectation, their experiences, and it doesn't serve you, we're going to trace it and say, put it where it belongs, put it in its proper categories of where it belongs. Or if it doesn't serve you, get rid of it. If it does serve you and need tweaking, again, we're going to tweak it. If it serves you and you like it, we'll keep it. No big deal, right? Then you're going to be mindful of scripts that run your mind that you may have picked up from siblings, right? Your siblings, kids are cruel, period. The kids are they can be cruel. They'll exclude you out of things. Kids will call you names. Kids will make fun of you because they think it's funny. And then you grow up and that is still running in your script, right? In your subconscious mind. So when you're doing something, when you get an idea or a thought or a feeling about yourself that's not pushing you towards your goal, that's not in line with where you see your life and where you want to go in life, trace it back. Where did I get that from? Who told me I don't belong here? Oh, that was my cousins when I was 6 years old. My cousins told me, oh, get out of the room. You don't belong here. That has nothing to do with your work environment now, the office that you're in now, right? You've earned the position. You do belong here, right? So what we're going to do with trace it, rather true or not, any thought, any belief, any ideas that you have that's running, and you're going to be mindful about this. You're going to really pay attention and focus and be on purpose with this. We're going to write down whether it serves you or not, just whether it's true or not, write it down. And then we're going to review it, right? We'll trace it so that we can put it in its proper place. Now, the reason why I say trace it is because, or write it down, is because as an adult, we're busy, right? Life is happening. We wake up, we go to work, we're busy. We got to get things done. We got to get from A to B, and we got to finish stuff quickly. And, time seems like it's going faster. You wake up and it's noon. And no, that's not how it went. And, I've been up since 6, but you blink and it's noon. And you blink again, it's time to go to bed. So you're rushing through life. You're doing things on autopilot, right? You do things so often, so much the same way, running the same script that's not serving you. And then before you know it, it's the end of the day. And before you know it, it's the end of the year. And you've wasted another, gap of time where you feel unaccomplished and defeated, right? So we're going to write it down so that we can be intentional on what it is that we're going to work on, right? Because God didn't wait. We're not created to sleep, wake up, and die. We are all here with an intended purpose. And in order to fulfill that purpose, we have to be intentional. We have to do stuff on purpose. So we're going to write it down, which is very important. Could be difficult, but it's very important to write down so that we can put stuff in a proper place, right? And then we're going to fulfill our life's purpose. Step 2 is face it, right? You're going to face the life traps. You're going to face the self-destructive ideas and patterns that you have running in your life, whether it be about relationships, health, wealth, you name it, whatever it is, the words that's spoken over you that controls how you behave today. So when I think of face it, I think of a dear friend, right? He was an amazing person who prided himself on how he cooked. He learned how to cook from his grandmother and from his mother, and he was a male cook, and they put sugar on everything. And you know, that worked for them. They loved it, and he was proud of it, and the whole family loved it, right? And sugar on potatoes, sugar on spaghetti, sugar on tacos, right? No, I'm telling you the truth, right? No exaggeration. Ground beef, Lori seasoning, lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, and sprinkle sugar on it like it's Parmesan cheese. This is sprinkle sugar on it, and they ate it, and they loved it. So his body couldn't handle that. Right? He became a diabetic, but because he didn't want to offend his grandmother, he didn't want to offend his mom, you know, they love that style of cooking. I never liked it. He didn't want to change. He didn't want to do the work. He didn't want to study, and he didn't want to learn what to cook, how to cut out sugar. And it kept going so much so it became so bad he couldn't eat fruit, right? His body just could not handle sugar. And he just wouldn't face it. And eventually he passed away. And it was really unfortunate because he was an incredible guy. But then, for example, I'm sorry, there's another friend, another person that I've actually, I worked with, and he wanted to get ahead in life. He wanted to move forward in life. He wanted more out of life, but he didn't know how to get there. So we sat down and, you know, well, first question is, what do you want in life? Well, I don't know. I just know I want more. Okay. So where do you work? Well, I don't work at 8 to 5 because, you know, I can't give 8 hours of my day to people, and I got to focus on me, and I got to get me together. So, okay. So you don't want to work. You don't want to give 8 hours of your day away to someone else. Where are we going to generate income? Right. I'm sorry. Where are we going to generate this income from? I don't know what his thought was, but anyway, in working with him, we kept going. And then I found that his mother was actually the breadwinner of the house. Excuse me. His mother was the breadwinner. Right. His father was the stay-at-home father, cooked, cleaned, did whatever. And that worked for them. There's nothing wrong with that if that's how the situation works. But he was ridiculed, and kids teased him at, you know, growing up. They would say, oh, your daddy stay at home. Well, you know, who's the wife? Who's the husband? Gender roles that the society place, right? The man's supposed to work, woman stay at home. Not necessarily true. That worked for them, but he began to despise his father. He did not like his father. He lost respect for his father because everyone teased him. People teased him. Kids tease them. Again, kids are cruel. Kids tease them. Yet he didn't want to work at 9 to 5. He didn't want to go to work for anyone else because he needed to focus on himself, but he wanted to get ahead. So we tried to come up with some plans. He was going to start a program, and then he was going to do this. And I just thought about this. He got a car, right? Because he'll do little odd jobs. He'll work part-time here and do something over there. So he did have a little bit of money, but he bought a car, a used car. And I kid you not, the license plate, like, you know, a license plate has numbers and then it has letters. Well, 3 of his letters put together was BUM. Bum. Now, did he know that when he bought the car? No. He checked the engine, the car is running fine, and he bought the car. And when I seen the license plate, I thought, oh my goodness, like God is telling you what you are right now. Growing up, we call a bum. Like we used to have people in the neighborhood, guys that would like just sit on the corner in front of the liquor store all day and they'll just drink. So we'll call them either a wino or a bum. Or in school, like if you need to borrow something, we'll say, hey, can I bum a pencil off of you? Can I bum a piece of paper off of you? Right. So the meaning of the word is not a great thing, right? So you're either lazy or you're always borrowing something, but it's not a description you would want. But that's who he was becoming, right? Now, without even knowing it. And only because he wanted to, right? He lived at home with his parents. Now understand, there's absolutely nothing wrong with living with your parents if you have to, because life happens, right? I myself, right, had a 5-bedroom home on a hill. Life happened. Had to move back in with my parents. No big deal. Like, thank God you have somewhere to go where you can lay your head and get your stuff together, get your thoughts back together, get going. But now if you are just living there because your mom is taking care of everything, your mom's the breadwinner, and you're almost 40, and this is how you get by in life and you don't want to work, then there's an issue there. But that's whatever. Well, we'll get to that. So long story short, sorry, he ended up running into a friend, or met a friend who had family members who had money. So he started running with them and they start paying for everything, and don't worry about gas, just catch a lift to where we're going. And they paid the lift and they paid for dinners out, and he disappeared for like a year. Okay, he's gone, no problem. He comes back, and what happened? How's your life? He was back to square one. Well, I need more out of life and I don't know how to get it. Well, what did you do with your whole year? He let them pay his way through everything. So now if you look at it, in essence, you're doing what your father did. You became the man that you despise. You despised your father for letting your mother work herself to death, literally, taking care of him in the household. You became him, right? So he's like, no, that's not true. Just, I need you to help me. I need you to help me. Let me, I'm gonna write a book. I'll tell you the story and I write the book, right? So I'm an author, I'm a writer, right? And this is where I have to check my own ego, right? Because when I first started my business, I have the degrees, have, several degrees, master's degree, have certifications, have all this stuff, but I didn't have enough. I had intern hours, but but those were structured intern hours, right? They gave me these type of people, right? So when I started my business, after I got all the certified and degrees, I wanted to help everybody for free so that I can experience different situations so that I can better serve you, right? I was preparing for it today. Well, he asked, well, help me write a book. I got a story to tell. And my ego was, you can't let nobody down. I can't say no because I'm going to help everybody, right? I'm going to be a savior, lowercase s, small s. I'm going to help everybody and fix everything, and everyone's going to be great. Now I have to check my ego, right? My ego was, this person, he was not serious, right? The program that I was creating, this program right here, is for anyone who is serious about wanting to experience a totally different level of success in their life. He wasn't serious. He didn't want to face it. He wanted to just get by. He didn't want to do the work. He wanted me to do the work. And I had to check my ego and tell my ego, it's okay to say no. You can't help those who don't want to be helped, right? And you just have to walk away. Now, your ego will have you in situations because you don't want to look like a failure. And the reality is, you're not a failure, right? You're running the script that doesn't belong to you. You're running the script from someone else. You're running the script from a different situation. You're running a script that don't apply. So I had to put it in perspective and say, no, me not accepting him, me not being able to help everybody, not being able to help those who don't want to help themselves, has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with my credentials, has nothing to do with my intentions, has nothing to do with my goals, right? There's billions of people in this world. It's impossible. I'm not going to help everyone. And my ego had to accept that. I can and will help as many as I can. So I had to turn him away, and he still calls, but he's still in the same situation, right? He just doesn't want the help, right? Now, when it comes to yourself, your ego will self-sabotage you, right? You have a thought, you have an idea, and immediately the thought comes up, well, that's not going to work. Don't do that. Why would you do that? You don't even know how to do it. That's your ego talking. right? Example, you want to write a book. Speaking of books, you want to write a book. If the thought come up automatically, no one wants to hear your story. Your life is boring. No one's going to read it, right? You have an 8th grade education. You can't write. That's your ego. That's your ego speaking, and you have to put it in its place, right? If you are still living today, you woke up, there's a purpose. There's meaning behind your life. There's a purpose for your life. And if it's in you to write the book, right? Then you have to be aware that the ego is clever and will try to distract you with different distractions, right? So you've made up in your mind, I'm gonna write the book. Be quiet, ego. I'm gonna write the book. People do want to hear it. I have a story to tell. It is going to sell, right? Then your ego is going to kick in and it's going to go in overdrive. It's going to say, oh, well, if you write the book, how much is that going to cost? You can't afford that. And then the ego has no perception of time. So it'll pull back. Remember that time when you were 5 and the lights got cut off because your parents didn't pay the electric bill? Well, if you spend this money on the book, your light's going to get cut off today, 2022. And then your kids are going to have the same experience. Okay, first of all, that's not true, right? That's not going to happen. I'll say it's not going to happen if writing a book, self-writing a book and self-publishing a book is less than $500 on Amazon, and you are walking around with a brand new $1,500 purse, then you self-publishing a book for under $500 is not going to cause your lights to be cut off. That is your ego stopping you. That is your ego placing up a barrier to prevent you from writing what could be the next bestseller, right? And then here's a tip about the ego. This is how you can tell if it's your ego talking. You have a thought, you have an idea, and then immediately the thoughts of why it won't work, why you shouldn't do it, all the things that could go wrong. If that start playing in your mind, that's your ego, and you know to shut it down, because God does give us an intuition, right? We are wise, and our brain is designed to protect us, right? If it's the God or your intuition speaking to you, you have an idea and it's like, don't do that, right? I'm going home today and I normally take the freeway, but it just pops up in you. Your ego tells you, don't take the freeway today, take the street. And then it leaves, right? Your intuition, God is not going to give you a reason. Normally don't give you a reason. It just comes up, right? It'll say, hey, do this. No reason behind it. Don't do that. No reason behind it. You might want to listen to that one. If it comes with all the reasons why and remember when, and it didn't work for her, it's not going to work for you, that's your ego. Pay close attention to it and then get it in check. Stop it from running, right? Our third step is erase it. People always have an opinion. Everybody have an opinion. Everyone has an experience, and it doesn't always have to apply to you, right? Last year, I was up to take an exam. I had a project to do, right? And I was told there's no expectation for me to pass it. There's no expectation for me to finish it because nobody in my area has ever done this before. No one's ever finished it. Like, it's so difficult. And I studied, and I know me, right? I love to learn. I'm I can comprehend very well. And I studied and I did all the necessary work to do it. And then when I went to take the test, it started playing in my head. No one's ever failed, no one's ever passed this. It's okay if you fail. We just need to know that you tried. We don't expect you to do it. And I failed the first time. I'm gonna be honest, I failed. And then I had to go back and come home and trace it, right? Where did I get the thought that I'm gonna fail from? I gave up weekends, gave up days, of doing what I wanted to do to study for this thing. And where did I let that idea absorb in my brain that you're not going to pass it, right? Trace it back to what others said, their experiences, right? Then I had to face it. I'm not those people, right? Doesn't mean I'm better than them. It just means that I know what God put in me. I know what I am capable of doing. I know that if somebody somewhere passed this, otherwise it wouldn't exist. Somebody completed it, someone created it. So it has to be able to be accomplished, right? And if it was presented to me, if it was brought to me and I needed to complete it to qualified to get certified in another area that I wanted to be certified in, then it could be done. So I went back in, and now that I traced it, I erased their thoughts, replaced it with my thoughts. I passed it, right? That's not to toot my own horn. It's just to let you know that it's doable, right? So when you're doing things and these thoughts of come up in your mind on why you shouldn't do stuff, and you find yourself constantly doing the same thing, you have to stop and no longer act out the belief that no longer fits into your life, right? The habits that you develop, that well, good enough is good enough. You know, I know my alphabet, I know how to count. That's all I need to know in life. No, it's not. If it's not getting you to the level and you're not seeing the life that you want to experience, then you have to erase those thoughts and know that it's okay. You have to do the work. Sorry. You definitely have to do the work. So sorry. You definitely have to do the work to see another level, right? So you're going to erase your habits, right? So even if you've erased the thoughts, I'm not listening to what the outsiders say, I'm not paying attention to what they said, but you find yourself repeatedly doing the same thing over and over. You're constantly getting in the same toxic relationships, and you're constantly talking to, you know, people who are just negative all the time. You're constantly overspending, you're constantly overeating. These things that you're constantly doing, you have to erase it if it's no longer working for you, right? And you have to be intentional in your thoughts. You have to be intentional with everything you do, your actions, your thoughts, and things are going to happen automatically because we're creatures of habit. But when you find yourself in the middle of it, stop and think, why am I doing this? Right? And speaking of being around negative people, this may include erasing toxic people from your life. You have people in life who unfortunately feel like this is as good as it's going to get, right? They don't want to do the work because why? You know, nothing good happens to people like us. And they're content with being stuck where they're at, just there, not moving anywhere. Then you have people who feel like, you know, life is always a struggle. Like, you know, this is how we were meant to be. This is how it's going to be forever because no one taught us how to do anything. And this is good. Actually, it's comfortable. Where we're at is really comfortable. You have to separate yourself from those people, right? It doesn't make them bad people. They're not bad people at all, but it makes them a barrier to where you're trying to get to. And if it's a hindrance for your life, you have to separate yourself just for a while, right? Go and obtain your goals, reach your purpose, you know, be on a path to your purpose, and come back for them, right? Now, to help you stay focused, you're going to share your purpose with people. So you're going to remove toxic people, but then you need to find someone who's going to support you, someone who believes you can, someone who believes in your success, someone who's going to cheer you on and egg you on and, you know, applaud you when you take a step, right? You know, you're taking a step. It's a step in the right direction. You're one step closer to your goal, right? Someone who's going to challenge you and push you in love. And when you're not able to think out the box or you feel stuck, you need the person in your corner who's going to say, well, hey, have you thought about it this way? What about this, right? And this is where a personal development life coach comes in. This is where I come in at. You need someone in your corner that's going to be your cheerleader, that's going to help you get to the level that you need to be, the level that was intended for you, the level that you see for yourself. Now we're going to replace it, right? So this is when the work really comes in, right? Because it's easy to, well, it's not easy. I'll take that back because it's a process. This is all a process. But we're going to replace anything, the things that we've removed. We're going to replace the negative thoughts that we're erasing, and we're going to replace it with what we do want, right? We're going to become who God says we are, right? So if you don't know who you are, you're going to learn who God says you are, right? Replace your negative thoughts with positive thoughts, right? There are so many songs out. There's a new Mary J. Blige song out, Good Morning Gorgeous. There's all I do is win. When there's so many positive songs to get you hyped and just keep going, and then remind yourself who God said you are, who you were created to be, right? What's available to you, and focus on that, right? Whatever you give your time and energy to, is spirit will come to you. You're focusing on prospering, and prospering doesn't necessarily always mean money. You're going to prosper in love. You're going to prosper in relationships. You're going to prosper in peace. You're going to have joy. You're going to have ideas. You're going to have abundance of all these good things that you want in your life, and you're going to keep your thought on that path, right? Anything that you focus on will come to you. So you're going to write down in detail. And again, I'm big on writing, so I hope you grabbed your pen and paper. We're going to write down in detail everything you want, that you want your life to be, how you want to show up in life. What do you look like? What do you feel like? What does it, what does it smell like? What's around you? And we're going to write it down of what we want. And that's what we're going to focus on, right? And then when we think of ourselves, we're going to start everything with I am. Everything starts with I am, right? And you can be creative with this. When you're describing yourself, be creative, because you were created by the God of abundance, right? There's no limits. You're going to write down and manifest the life you want. Now, when I say manifest, this is not a magic trick. We're not going to manifest and hocus pocus, there it is. No, it takes work. But by manifesting, we're going to use what God has already placed inside of us. And we're just going to dust it off, and we're going to activate it, right? Everything is there for you, right? And so then you're going to embrace it. Now, be intentional with your thoughts about yourself. You're only meditating on what you desire, right? And you're going to embrace it when you get the life that you deserve. You were created to prosper, and you have plans that gives you a future and of hope, right? And so when you reach higher levels of success, there's going to be some around you who may not mean any harm, right? At least for me, I don't think the people around me, not everyone means harm. But when you reach levels of success, you're going to have people think, oh, you think you're better than us now. You think you're too good. No, that's their negative thinking. That's their low vibrational thinking that belongs to them, has nothing to do with you. So embrace, right? You've worked for this. You've done the work. So when the success comes, embrace it, right? You deserve it. You are blessed. Your cup is full. Now you can be a blessing to others. You can reach back and you can teach others what you've learned, right? So embrace it, and don't feel bad. Don't get success and then look back and think, well, no one in my family has ever obtained this before. Now you feel bad and you're quiet and you don't want to tell anyone. No, don't do that, right? I come from a family where we're taught not to be proud, right? Well-intentioned, good point. But I misinterpret or misunderstood, don't be proud, as don't have pride in what you've done, right? Does that make sense? So I would have, for example, I would have done a thing, right? Received an award. I did not feel comfortable, and I still don't feel comfortable. I have to be intentional and force myself. But if I say, they say the award goes to, and everyone's, oh, congratulations, you did this. I'm kind of like, oh, it's not a big deal. Don't talk about it. It is. I need to embrace it. Like, you've done the work. You've done what was necessary. You're fulfilling your purpose in life. This is why you were created. So if it's going and it's noticed, embrace that, right? It's yours. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. So it's not oh, I did this and now I'm better than you type of deal. It's look, guys, what I'm telling you really works. It works for me. Look, I have proof. Here's proof. Here's an award. Here's a statement. Here's a letter written. Here's an accolade given to me. It works, right? So I'm embracing every good thing that comes to me, and you need to embrace it, right? And not look back and feel bad because no one else in your family's ever achieved it, or you start going places. Now you're traveling and you're going all over the world. Don't look back at those guys that's on the corner. right? The guys in the neighborhood that's on the corner that's content with being there. Don't look back at them and think, oh, they never got a chance to be here. Then I'm gonna go back and just be with them because it's not fair, right? We should all be here. No, they don't want to do the work. And you've done the work. So embrace it, right? Step into your greatness and be an example of the goodness of God. And then reach back and help those who want to be helped, right? Again, there's an abundance, there's enough for everyone, right? When your value shifts, your world shifts. It starts inside of you. Success is not on the outside of you. Whatever you want that you currently don't have, you have to start working from the inside, right? You have to start studying and learning and moving towards the direction that you want, the direction of your goal. Everything you need is within you. It's in your mind, and it starts with I am, right? Thank you for tuning into this episode, this broadcast of Rewrite the Script of Your Life, where we always look within so that we do not go without experiencing a totally different level of success in any area of your life. I am your host and personal development life coach, Latanya Carmouche. For more information, visit me on ltce.info. Bye.